Tamil Nadu government moved the Supreme Court seeking directions to ensure the release of Kaveri water to the state, as no water was released to the state from Karnataka. Vinesh Fogart expresses disappointment over Brij Bhushan Singh's acquittal in a sexual harassment case, says wrestlers have decided to appeal the verdict and remain committed to the fight for justice. Welcome to On Point, and we are talking about a very historic election that has taken place. And when I say historic election, we have to remember that sometimes bypolls are very, very important in the history of the nation. I'll give you an example before I go to my esteemed guests. When Ram Manohar Lohia would straight away, in a straight bat, lose elections, he could only win a bypoll. Even Acharya Kriplani could, in never a straight run, win an election, but he won a bypoll. There have been times when political parties have lost bypolls, like Phulpur was lost, Yogi Adityanath's constituency, Gorakhpur was lost in 2018 in the first tenure of Bharatiya Janata Party, though reclaimed in 2019, again 2024. Again, that was the bypoll which set the mood for 2019 and the aggressive mood of Rafale. Though Mr. Gandhi got it wrong, but the fact of the matter is it set the tone for the Lok Sabha elections. So bypolls are indeed very important. Bypolls can tell you a different story. Bypolls can be about hyperlocal issue. Bypolls can be disconnected from the national issues. But bypolls are never to be ignored, because bypolls can also be a source of disappointment, and bypolls can also be the source of hope. Let me start with Bankipur before I just tell you a brief of Datia and the constituency in Gujarat. In Gujarat, Bharatiya Janata Party has won, and in Datia, Congress has won. And Gujarat, it's a foregone story. I mean to say, either there is a third front or Congress does something dramatically different. I think it's a state loss to the Congress party. When it comes to Datia, yes, there is a jostle and the Congress has been able to reclaim it and the vote share of the BJP has gone down. But why I'm talking about Bankipur? Bankipur is very, very important. And Bankipur is important because Jan Suraaj party has been able to open its account. And when I say Bankipur is important because Jan Suraaj party has been able to open its account, one, this election has taken place in absence of Nitish Kumar. For the first time after 2005, the gentleman is in Delhi. Samrat Chaudhary was the chief minister. The sitting president of Bharatiya Janata Party, Nitin Nabin, it was his seat. He couldn't leverage himself. It was an urban seat, urban constituency, lot of middle class. What middle class is to BJP today was perhaps what Muslims were to the Congress parties in 60s and before Nazbandi campaign of Indira Gandhi in 70s. And even then, Prashant Kishor won it. Though Prashant Kishor must have done something smart at the level of the booth, at the level of the constituency, at the level of the campaign, those must be the reason. But it takes place in wake of the corporate Janata Party agitation. People will link it. Though there might not be an obvious link, but the link will be spoken about. It will create a conversation within Bharatiya Janata Party as to why this defeat has happened. And before I get into other details as to why Bankipur is important, let me introduce my guests. I'm joined by Advocate Nikhil Jain, political analyst. I'm joined by Professor Ashwini Kumar, Senior Visiting Fellow, Center for Policy Research, Amitabh Tiwari, political analyst, psephologist, and I'm also an academician, which I discovered last week. And Dr. Indu Dikshit, Senior Journalist. Thank you, all of you, for joining me. And without wasting any more time, let me play two bites. One of Prashant Kishor, another of Prashant Kishor's wife.
धन्यवाद दे रहे हैं जिन लोगों ने जन सुराज पर और मुझ पर ये भरोसा व्यक्त किया है, उनको ये विश्वास दिलाना चाहते हैं कि अपनी ओर से हर वो संभव कोशिश करेंगे कि उनके जीवन में जो कुछ भी बेहतरी लाई जा सके वो किया जाएगा। जो लोग चुनाव हार गए हैं उनको भी अपनी ओर से बधाई दे रहे हैं। लोकतंत्र है, चुनाव में हार जीत लगा रहता है, लेकिन बांकीपुर का जो चुनाव था, ये चुनाव विधायक बनाने के लिए नहीं बना हुआ था। ये पहले दिन से हम लोग कह रहे थे कि बांकीपुर का चुनाव विधायक चुनने के लिए नहीं है। ये बिहार में भाजपा एनडीए की जो सरकार है, उसका जो नेतृत्व है, उस पर निर्णय लेने के लिए ये चुनाव हो रहा है। और बांकीपुर की जनता ने बड़ा स्पष्ट ये अपनी ओर से और बिहार के लोगों की ओर से ये मत दिया है कि भाजपा के केंद्रीय नेतृत्व को ये सोचना चाहिए, विचार करना चाहिए और बिहार के हित में, बिहार के बच्चों के हित में बिहार में एक अच्छे व्यक्ति को, चरित्रवान और काबिल व्यक्ति को बिहार की कमान सौंपनी चाहिए।
Okay, let me straight away go to Amitabh. Amitabh, is Bankipur vote important in context that it's BJP president seat, or is it important in terms of the fact that they have selected an alternative person whose leadership credentials get established, and in today's elections, once your leadership credentials get established, organization follow. It's not like 60s, it's not like 50s. Sir, your opening comments. Amitabh.
So clearly, in terms of candidates, Prashant stood out as a better candidate compared to the BJP or the RJD candidate. Also, a fact that whenever there is a strong seats, I always believe that every strength is a weakness. So you also have a weakness in terms of anti-incumbency. So JSP was able to raise civic issues. So despite there being an BJP MLA for quite a long time and there being a double engine ki sarkar, the constituency was witnessing civic issues. Also, the fact that maybe people thought that had a sympathy with Prashant Kishor that his party was not able to win a single seat in the 2025 Vidhan Sabha election despite raising some pertinent issues. That also could have played a factor. And the one of the most interesting factors is that it's a low stake election. So what happens is that even core BJP voters, supporters are aware that this is not going to change the government in any way because the government is sitting comfortably. So why not give a chance to a better candidate, educated, etc., who will raise pertinent issues in the assembly. Also, the fact that RJD's core voters also seem to have shifted towards the JSP, considering him as a better suited candidate to defeat the BJP in this election.
Okay. Nikhil, your opening comments?
I think this is the Bankipur result as well as the Datia result are significant for a number of factors, especially Bankipur, because not only is it the seat of Nitin Nabin, let's also not forget that by-elections are elections where usually you have the ruling party's candidate winning. In both these cases, you have the ruling party candidate losing. Let's also remember that Datia was an important seat in terms of the fact that it was Narottam Mishra's seat, although it was not given, the ticket was not given to him for whatever reasons the BJP would know best. But, Bankipur, I think I would agree with the kind of poll campaign that Prashant Kishor made it out to be, that this is in some ways a referendum on the people of Bihar not really agreeing with the kind of politics that the BJP has been doing in the state, that the entire election was fought on the face of Nitish Kumar and then very unceremoniously and scrupulously he was removed. Then you have a Samrat Chaudhary coming in, then you have Nitin Nabin being elevated. Nitin Nabin was on the ground all the time, yet the people chose to take away Nitin Nabin's bastion, BJP's bastion from them and give it to a Prashant Kishor. So it's an interesting result indeed.
Okay, I think that's a very interesting letter. Let me ask a very specific question because, when I was going through the Bankipur issue, there was one thing which was in my mind, and that issue was Nitish Kumar. So, is Nitish Kumar an issue? Did his absence really make a difference, Dr. Indu Dixit? Did Nitish Kumar's absence made a difference, sir? I think my voice is not reaching. Professor Ashwini Kumar, can you take this question?
Yeah. I mean, and it's very special constituency for me because I come from Patna and I grown up, I don't know about other analysts and I've written tons of pages and books, So back to my childhood memory, where I have seen, the generations growing up, including Nitish Kumar in the neighborhood, it was known as Patna West. Today is known as Bankipur, Kartikeya. And don't forget that, in 1967 historic election, KV Saha, the incumbent chief minister, was defeated by Mahamaya Prasad Sinha. And that's the beginning of the coalition politics and what we call as a political scientist, disruption in the Congress system. The Congress system finally obliterated and decimated by the Mandal agitations and the Mandir agitations. But this is very historic. Historic to the extent that analysts must recognize not just the symbolic significance, but also the material importance, because this Patna West has also nurtured by none other than Thakur Prasad, one of the founders of Bharatiya Jana Sangh and BJP. And also, paradoxically speaking, even though, it's a pocket borough which has been breached, Nitin Naveen's constituency, the youth icon. So let me just, summarize, the overall significance of Prashant Kishor. It was almost like a silent tsunami, and there is a tsunami that we could not see it. It's not just limited to urban constituency or civic issues, It has much larger import in the sense of the generational shift. Generational shift, Laluji, Nitishji, Ramvilas Paswan gone, anti-emergency youth gone, replaced by, as I have spoken about earlier also, 2020 elections, very strongly about the rise of millennial generation politicians. So you have Chirag Paswan, you have Tejaswi, you have Nitin Naveen, and then you have a very unusual candidate, in the history, in the living contemporary history of Bihar. Here is a celebrity political consultant, now becoming a future, And also don't forget, he was Nitish's successor. So Nitish is not absent. So this is, in fact, a victory of Nitish, So in the post, Nitish Kumar Bihar, you can't ignore, Nitish Kumar. He's pretty much there, as his proxy successor. So to conclude my opening remarks, this is historic and this can go anywhere. I mean, like, this is not disconnected from the national trends, or the rise of the...
Professor, we'll come to you. आप प्रत्यक्ष रूप से हैं, प्रत्यक्ष रूप से भी लाना, आपकी लाइन फिक्स हो जाए ठीक तरीके से. तब तक मैं डॉक्टर इंदु के पास जाता हूँ. Sir, your opening comments.
Good evening, Kartikeya ji. Good evening to my other co-panelists. See, I find three very important points out of this by-election results. See, you don't just forget the encounter of Bharat Tiwari in Bihar. So this result has connection to that. This result has a direct bearing from the Andolan, so-called Senji Andolan. You accept it or you don't accept it. What happened on the Jantar Mantar. And thirdly, this could be considered a verdict of the people on the leadership of Samrat Chaudhary. And Samrat Chaudhary had a very big responsibility, huge responsibility to anyhow win this seat. But otherwise also, see, these results also reflect that whatever the people and the political parties have been campaigning against the this EVMs, against the purity and probity of the election systems, polling, etc., they have also fallen down. So what I see primarily that on the first hand, in Madhya Pradesh and Bihar, the governments have lost, and this is a kind of verdict on their working as well as the candidate selection. And on the other hand, it is also a very good thing vis-a-vis the questions asked about the probability of elections and EVMs, etc. Yeah.
Okay. Amitabh, last time when the verdict came out, a lot of panelists who had come, they said that Bihar never has a third alternative. And a lot of people had said this. Bihar will never give a third alternative. Should we see one, Amitabh, Prashant, as an alternative to the traditional political parties, two political parties? That is number one. And secondly, do you think that the CJP or the antic or the noise around CJP, which is being discussed all through the country, also impacted the outcome in this urban constituency, Amitabh?
Well, essentially, if you see, RJD is a regional party and it has been in force almost for 30 years. It is in its second generation of leadership. And we've seen that the RJD's tally of 25 now equals the tally in 2010 of 22 seats. So if Nitish had not aligned with RJD, RJD might have been a spent force long time back. So Nitish gave a lease of life by aligning with the RJD. Now there are family disputes, question marks over whether Tejasvi can lead this party to power again. So what the entry of Prashant Kishor in the assembly it does is that now Prashant gets a chance to outwit Tejasvi or emerge at least in the debates as a thoughtful leader, a more mature, educated leader having roots on the ground, and also target parallelly Samrat Chaudhary. See, both these leaders were under his fire before the 2025 election, so he gets a chance to take pot shots. Now, Congress was indirectly backing the Jan Suraaj party in Bankipur. So, if Congress and more so the left also start veering towards Prashant Kishor's JSP in the next 3 to 5 years, then we see another alternative emerging to BJP. That's number one. Number two is that the
Amitabh, you said something very, you're connecting. I'll connect those two things for you. Then you can take your argument forward. You're saying that Congress in a tacit way supported them. Congress also went on to support Vijay subsequently. So I'm just thinking, is Congress looking for such non-traditional players in larger national rubric of politics? Tamil Nadu, Jan Suraaj.
Yeah, because Congress is also watching this trend that these regional parties, just like DMK, who are largely family-controlled parties, may not have a future in India's politics, where this Gen Z politics is largely concentrated on issue-based politics, or their support is largely issue-based. Secondly, what it does for the BJP is that the BJP also will be in power, or the NDA will be in power for almost 25 years when it faces the next elections. 20 years under Nitish and almost 5 years under Samrat. Now, Samrat Chaudhary is not Nitish Kumar for sure. Even the hardcore supporters of Samrat would agree to that fact. So whether Samrat Chaudhary, after he has taken up the mantle, is able to carry on the policies and programs of Nitish Kumar and emerge as a leader, because Samrat is not an established leader yet. He has been put in that place. Now he also gets challenged from PK. So a very new and interesting three-cornered, you can say, contest emerges in Bihar, and we'll have to wait and see how this pans out in the next 3 to 5 years.
Nikhil, a lot of people would be asking, how come, Mr. Nabeen is not able to hold on to this constituency? I must have to bring this political question, He is the BJP president, This constituency has been held from 1995, and he's not a political newbie. I'm not using the word dynast for him, but he comes from a political background. I think that's a much more sophisticated way of putting things. He's not a first timer. He's like Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan. He has a political background, and then you lose it to an outsider. If you would have lost it to RJD, the traditional dynamics would have been in place. But as what Amitabh has been saying, you lose it to an outsider, someone who scored a duck in the previous assembly elections. What does it tell us? It's telling us a different story. We can talk about his management skills, booth management messages, or the way he, took up local issues. Vidhan Sabha elections are different from Lok Sabha. But even then, it is like scoring a victory at someone's... It's like Smriti Irani defeating Rahul Gandhi in that election. Kuch bhi karan de do. Aap haare to amethi the.
Kartikeya, first of all, I don't think it's wrong to call him a dynast, because at the end of the day, he did get the ticket for the first time at the age of 26 in 2005 after his father had passed away. It was his father's seat, who had been the MLA from the seat a number of times, and it was only after that that Nitin Nabeenji inherited the seat. So I think it's perfectly kosher to call him a political dynast. Be that as it may, I think this is what should be worrying the BJP, that your national president was not able to win his pocket borough seat that he kept on winning till the point he was not even a significant leader. Let's not lose sight of the fact that even till the Bihar election results, nobody really knew or cared about Nitin Nabeen. Of course, other than people who were in Bihar, so far as national politics was concerned, nobody cared about him. But all of a sudden, he was elevated to the stature of the national president, and yet he could not hold fort in his own pocket borough. I think that speaks volumes for what messages people of Bihar, of Bankipur, of Patna are trying to send to the BJP, that no longer people are willing to be taken hostage or be held for granted. that just a political party will come and say that this is our pocket borough and हम किसी को भी खड़ा करेंगे वो जीत जाएगा यहाँ से, because there were sections of the BJP which were going around with statements like this कि यहाँ से तो किसी को भी खड़ा करेंगे, वो the statements that we first heard during Indira Gandhi's time, that even a lamppost will win if you were to give a ticket to them. I don't think people of the country appreciate that sort of politics anymore, which is why you have the BJP losing in two of its strongholds. And that being said, one thing I would like to point out, it's not just about the impact of the CJP and what happened in Jantar Mantar. It is also about the heavy-handed dealing of the student protests in Patna itself. Even in Patna, a large number of students were, brutalized by the police. AK-47 was pulled out. One of my own interns was actually, he's now High Court of the Advocate. He's a High Court advocate of the Patna High Court. Even he was in detention for 40 hours. And he wasn't produced before the judicial magistrate. So imagine the kind of situation that is happening in Patna right now. That somebody is picked up, not produced before a magistrate.
Nikhil, are you saying that the middle class vote responded very differently? Are you saying that the middle class vote responded very differently? Because Bankipur is an urban constituency. It's not a rural constituency.
Honestly, Kartikeya, I don't like to place and say with certainty that which section of the society voted for which political party, because there's no way of actually knowing it. It's all theories and hypotheses that all of us give. But I'm sure that it would have to have played a large role, because yes, it is an urban constituency, and not just an urban constituency, it represents the poshest part of Patna. For those viewers who are not in Bihar, it is basically the Lutyens' Delhi of Patna and Bihar. Bankipur is that seat, and in that seat, Prashant Kishor, whose party, as you rightly pointed out, could not get a single seat in an election that was held half a year ago. Prashant Kishor has gotten over a 49% vote share, where the BJP's demographic factors are in place, where the BJP's candidate had its pocket borough. You had all so many ministers, MPs, MLAs campaigning. I can't even imagine the kind of money that the BJP would have spent here. Despite all of that, if Prashant Kishor has managed a victory, that is the people of Patna and Bihar sending a signal to the BJP.
Okay. Dr. Dixit, do you think that there was a lack of imagination and lack of anticipation on part of BJP when it came to this by-election? They underestimated what was happening?
Kindly repeat your question. I could not hear.
I'm saying, was there a lack of imagination in anticipating the sort of pushback that will come from Prashant Kishor by Bharatiya Janata Party? मतलब मेरे कहने का मतलब ये है कि वो इस इलेक्शन का संदर्भ नहीं समझ पाए. उनको लगा मिल ही जाएगी, पॉकेट बोरो वाली सीट है, जाएगी कहाँ, आएगी तो हमारे पास ही कम से आएगी, पर आ जाएगी. तो कई बार जब संदर्भ समझ में नहीं आता है तो जो बाहरी आदमी होता है तो आपको बहुत आपको जबरदस्त पटक देता है आपको, क्योंकि आप समझ नहीं पाते हैं संदर्भ. जैसे विजय का हुआ, संदर्भ समझ ही नहीं पाए द्रविडियन पार्टीज, तो वो संदर्भ समझ नहीं पाई भारतीय जनता पार्टी.
No, Kartikeya, I see in two ways. See, first is that this is a type of charisma of PK. What we were expecting in the previous elections, he could not do anything. So this time, since he was singularly focused upon this seat and as a strategist, now here comes his role as a strategist. He chose this time, he chose this election, he has gone for this particular seat to show that he is a real heavyweight. This was a chance for him. And see, this could have disseminated his all political wills if he was defeated on this seat as well. But he chose this opportunity and he did it. See, on the other hand, as you suggested, Samrat Chaudhary and others, especially even Nitin Nabin, he has not done the required things to retain this seat. Otherwise, this was Nitin Nabin's responsibility as well, to anyhow retain this seat after becoming the president of BJP. He is not a president of a small party. He has been elevated as a president, one of the youngest president of BJP, and he could not retain the seat. It is a huge message for BJP entire leadership.
आपने बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट बात बोली. प्रोफेसर, he said he has not done enough. कि अगर नितिन नबीन या मेहनत करते तो ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी जीत सकते थे. I'll reverse the question. अगर वो मेहनत करते, नितिन नबीन इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी में 5 दिन बिताते, तो ये क्या कॉन्स्टिट्यूंसी भारतीय जनता पार्टी को वोट करती? अमिताभ, आप भी इसका जवाब दीजिएगा. यू आर अ सेफोलॉजिस्ट. I'm just reversing the case, प्रोफेसर.
Yeah, if you want, a political scientist response, analytical response, so here is following. I think, somehow, the day he joined the race for Bankipur, it started becoming clearer to us. See, I know it like on my palm, like this, I know this constituency, from my childhood days. So this is a pocket borough of BJP, but don't forget about it that in the past, see, as a historian, I'm looking at, I'm not reacting to immediate concerns of this constituency. Communists have won, see, and also Congress constituency, then moved to the BJP and became a BJP pocket borough. But once, Prashant entered the race, the voters, especially the core voter, in terms of the community, very small chunk stayed with, BJP. The campaigning, would not have made much impact. That's why BJP today in a dominant position within the coalition, ruling coalition, did not do that exercise. Otherwise, they would have done that exercise. It seems like, given the mood of the voter and the restlessness in the voter, especially of this urban constituency, and particularly a privileged constituency. If you just look at the Boring Road, from Boring Road to Gandhi Maidan, is chaos, It's chaos, traffic chaos, So I'm using that metaphor to just indicate that, Prashant's right timing, political timing, coinciding with the national mood as well, So it's not just limited to Bankipur in Patna, but also responding to the larger historical forces. That's my way of looking at Bankipur, historically and also in the contemporary politics of, Bihar. Otherwise, Bankipur, if you look at, was absent from the political landscape of Bihar, given the, like upper caste, upper class, elite, and then, the migrants, But after the NIT, controversy, if you speak to any Litti Chokha Dukan, if you speak to any coaching institute, flourishing in these, colonies, they were upset. So that's the mood. And Prashant took a very right decision to enter into the fray.
Okay, let me add one thing, which I said in introduction. If you recall, from a historical perspective, Professor, in 1962, Ram Manohar Lohia fought against Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. He lost the election. Acharya Kripalani also lost. But in 1963, when he fought in Balrampur, he won. Acharya Kripalani won in 1963, he won. And for the first time in 1967, when Indira Ji went on to become the Prime Minister after Shastri's demise, she was running the government with the help of the left parties. Are we looking at a larger churn?
Are you asking me? Then I can tell you that, when the Indira Gandhi went to Chikmagalur, you remember the slogan, Ek Sherni So Langur, Chikmagalur, On the other hand, I go back to my memory.
दूसरी डिबेट हो सकती है, cuss words in Indian politics. ये तो आपने मुझे प्रेरित कर दिया इस पे एक दूसरी चर्चा करने के लिए. Cuss words in Indian politics, people think that, it was invented by these children in Jantar Mantar, without forgetting as a child when Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister, how people were making fun of him post 1987. Yeah, that's a good idea. I think I'll make, what I'll do, Professor, मैं वो 10 लिख के आऊंगा इस तरह की चीजें जिसमें मजाक बनता था दूसरी पार्टियों का. That's a good idea.
और 10 मैं भी लेके आऊंगा आपको ऐसे.
बिल्कुल.
कि I'm gonna go back to, like campus politics of Patna University and picking up one political slogan. वो कहते थे ना, so Prashant was seen, over time in just, it's very surprising, within 6-8 months, I found out that Prashant is becoming, that Sushil Modi, that era, ये something like Gandhi, Prashant nahi Andhi hai, Patna ka Gandhi hai, it's like Bankipur ka Gandhi hai. See his Gandhian persona and his emergence, This is not the Prashant I saw in Bihar election 2024, when I was writing about and visiting and covering Bihar election. This is something very different, Prashant, Perhaps Prashant has learned, as I have written elsewhere, that he's becoming more like a hedgehog, as Michael Oxford would have called him. So this is like, the resilience, the ability to, survive. So here, Prashant, like Gandhi, after the failure of several grassroots movements, Prashant is learning step by step. And I'm sure, the dominance of BJP, let me tell you, is not dependent on defeat of this market election. It's still pretty much there. But other political parties and opposition parties, including the principal poll in terms of the opposition, RJD is becoming more and more vulnerable with this victory.
Okay. Amitabh, do you think that the RJD is becoming more and more politically brittle?
It is because I think Prashant Kishor and JSP pose a bigger threat to RJD and RJD's style of politics, which is considered perhaps not that serious politics in the sense that not a 5-year 365 into 24 into 7 politics with Tejasvi Yadav coming or focusing only during the elections or polls, while Prashant staying here even after loss and being there on the ground and fighting it out. I think that also shows genuineness in terms of his politics, and I think he poses a bigger challenge to RJD because it is already under threat because of other issues which we have discussed.
Or is it because of the fact, Amitabh, he did not choose a safe seat? You know, if you recall Arvind Kejriwal, he fought against Sheila Dikshit. You know, when you become the principal challenger, when you fight at the center, the rewards are, you can have a very big defeat. But if you defeat the principal in the opposition, the rewards are bigger. You make a louder statement. Amitabh.
I didn't get you, sorry.
My question is, it's like Arvind Kejriwal defeating Sheila Dikshit in 2013. So, Bankipur is not about the candidate, it's about the seat.
Yeah, it sends a message, a very big message, a very loud message that the voters cannot be taken for granted. That's the biggest message here. And voters are, Janta Janardhan, they are open to experiment. They are open to sending good people, clean people who really talk about their issues to the assembly. And then from here, they will see. The voters are also experimenting in a way, correct? That we are sending Prashant from this seat. He does not belong to this seat, perhaps. He belongs to some other place. But he is being sent to the assembly to raise issues of not only the particular Vidhan Sabha, but also to raise issues of the opposition or be the main force of the opposition, which people have seen lacking in Tejasvi or RJD for the times in the past few years, and they see hope that Prashant will be able to raise issues of the state and has also laid his vision for the state, and then they will see which is whether Samrat performs or whether RJD picks up the baton to take on Samrat, or Prashant emerges as one of the main contenders. He is here to stay. He's here for a long haul, and that is what we have to see.
Something, you sparked an idea in my mind, Amitabh. This is bringing me to the question, Nikhil, if imagine, Congress party has a proper tie with Vijay and Congress party has a proper tie with Jan Suraaj party, I mean to say it's going to be as big as realignment what BJP did by breaking NCP and Shiv Sena. I mean to say RJD was one party which stood with Sonia when the entire thing burst in Indian politics in terms of a foreignness. It was Lalu in Lok Sabha. And the DMK, it was the stable core. And suddenly if Rahul Gandhi wants to reinvent, I think it's going to rejig the entire arithmetic in whatever way it works. Suppose it happens in 5 states, these 5 political parties will end up becoming orphans. They can't go to BJP.
No, Kartikeya, if I can hazard absolute conjecture at this point of time, let's not forget that in 2015, we did see an alliance between the JDU, the RJD, and the Congress. So what is to preclude from the possibility that the RJD, the JSP, and the Congress can get in an alliance? I'm not saying anybody is talking about that. I'm not even saying that that's an idea which can easily be considered. But fact of the matter is that the RJD, at least in terms of seats, has been reduced to a tiny fraction of what it was just a couple of years ago. JSP is an emerging partner, and one of the things that the Congress is doing across the country is it is galvanizing and becoming the nucleus for all those political forces which oppose the politics of the BJP. So if they saw merit in going with a Vijay in Tamil Nadu, being a part of the government and being aligned with a person who is professing secular politics, they chose to dump their long-term ally. But again, you will not see a lot of Congress leaders making any adverse remarks against the DMK. The Congress is still trying to keep the DNK on board with them at the national level, keep them in the India alliance, keep them together in the bloc that votes and moves against the BJP at the national level. The Congress might attempt a similar strategy with Bihar, that they do align with JSP and Prashant Kishor, but at the same time, they are not, sidestepping or orphaning, as you put it, the RJD, and I think all of them can come together and form a bloc. I see that in the realms of possibility with how things are proceeding.
Absolutely. I've really run short of time, but I thank all of you for joining me. But I'll close the show with the bite of Prashant Kishor's bite as to what she had to say on the handsome men of harassment.
So that makes the win even more better or happier for us. क्योंकि ये बहुत टफ सिट था, उसमें जीत हो गई तो बहुत ज़्यादा खुशी हुई है.
लोगों ने प्यार जताया.
Of course, मैं तो I've been telling everyone कि मैं सही में बांकीपुर के सारे जनता और बिहार के जनता को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
So this was on point one, and Prashant Kishor has created history. The entire family is very, very happy, but don't go away because it's time for on point two. And on point two is about a serious debate. And the on point two is we examine the hidden risk of diabetes that often goes unnoticed, while most people worry about the blood sugar. But the larger issue is diabetes hurting your liver? And should liver and diabetes be treated together after this short break?
Dear bestie, how can I thank you? They say the truest friendships cannot be manufactured. They simply unfold naturally. How true that is for us, bestie. Love from Bestie Collection. Natural diamond bracelets for you and your bestie.
The fallout of the deadly ambush on the church leaders in Manipur is now rapidly escalating across the hill districts.
Unfortunately, the government has not taken appropriate action still.
Commitment to the stories that come out from Northeast, and we'll continue to cover them in depth and entirety.
News 9, in your interest.
A single street in Belfast, sudden act of violence, and within hours, a city was pulled in chaos. What began as a stabbing has now ignited nights of unrest across Northern Ireland. Fresh unrest has erupted in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir with large-scale protests. As the guns fall silent in the Iran war, Donald Trump has opened a new diplomatic front in the West Asia. Not with missiles, not with sanctions, but with a bold demand. Uganda has closed its border with the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo with immediate effect.
Welcome back. Today, we are going to talk about something which is very, very close to my heart and very, very important. It's inspired by an article which was written by Dr. V. Mohan, Chairman and Chief of Diabetology. Dr. Mohan Diabetes and Specialist Center. He will be joining me from Chennai, and Dr. Shekhar Sharma, a very well-known nutritionist. He will also be joining me. So this entire thing was inspired by the fact that the connection of sugar with the liver, and why both liver and diabetes should be treated together, and why we fail to make the connection. And in India is the diabetes capital of the world. Highest number of diabetes cases are taking place in India. Why should liver and sugar be connected? What does it do to our body? Without wasting any more time, let me straight away go to the people who understand this. Let me go to Dr. V. Mohan. Sir, I really enjoyed the article you wrote. And I'm also joined by Dr. Shikha Sharma. Thank you, ma'am, for being with me. Why should diabetes and your liver be investigated together, be studied together, be treated together, sir?
Thank you, Kartikeya. So there's a very interesting thing which is developing more rapidly nowadays. We used to think that diabetes affects the heart, the kidney, the liver, the feet, and so on, and the eyes. But we never used to think of the liver connection. Actually, it's a bi-directional relationship, which means that if you have uncontrolled diabetes, that can lead to fatty liver. And fatty liver, if you have, it can lead to diabetes. Why is that? Because when you have fat in the liver, the insulin is supposed to work in the liver. So when you have too much of fat, the liver cells cannot work